Morgan Wallen is without a doubt one of the hottest superstars not only in country music, but throughout the entire music industry. However, along with this astronomical success, Morgan Wallen has faced great scrutiny with his life and career having its fair share of public highs and lows. And today we are going to peel back the many layers of Morgan Wallen's fame. The very fame that not only came his way very deservingly, but at a pace like we have not really ever seen before. And unfortunately, those layers consist of numerous setbacks and apologies for actions that occurred off the stage and not on the stage. But let me be clear. On the stage and professionally, he has damn near perfected his craft, really helping country music reach heights that have arguably propelled the genre into the biggest that it has ever been, and the biggest genre maybe in music right now. So much so that now the norm appears to be for outside artists to try their hand at country music, when before it was more likely that you would see a country artist try their hand moving outside of country music. So as we navigate through Morgan Wallen's career and life timeline, we of course acknowledge his outstanding achievements, as well as his incredible talent that should land him into the Country Music Hall of Fame one day. But in order to get to the remarkable status in which Morgan Wallen has found himself in the genre and beyond, the hardships, arrest, and controversies are still a part of the story that leads us into the megastar that he is today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the roller coaster of a ride that Morgan Wallen has been on since he got his start in the music industry. We're gonna kick things off fast forwarding to the year of 2014. Morgan Wallen really started out in unknown territory at a fairly young age when he was just 20 years old. Morgan Wallen became not only just a contestant on The Voice, but he was a contestant that had a lot of potential, and the thought of him even winning the competition was being tossed throughout that season. Morgan was ultimately eliminated in the playoff rounds, and it has been mentioned that his elimination was considered a setback, but if anyone still views it as such, it was a setback that didn't get in Morgan Wallen's way for long, because Morgan Wallen not too long after released his EP Stand Alone after linking up with executives from Panacea Records. Stand Alone featured the hit song Spin You Around. Now in just a moment we are going to share and go into how this would turn out to become one of the controversies in Morgan Wallen's career, and it's quite interesting to hear this story and just why this became something that Morgan appeared to be considered a stab in the back. But following the release of his EP Stand Alone, it didn't take long for Wallen to find mainstream success, because in 2018, after his tenure with working alongside Florida Georgia Line and their collab Up Down finding success immediately following its release really in 2017, Morgan Wallen released his debut album, If I Know Me, which featured the smash hits Whiskey Glasses, Chasing You, and The Way I Talk. Of course, Whiskey Glasses, The Way I Talk, and Chasing You all went #1, as well as the debut album. So during this time, Morgan was having great success as a breakthrough artist in country music. Unfortunately, as he was riding this wave of initial success, in May of 2020, Morgan Wallen was arrested for the first time after an incident that took place at Kid Rock's Honky Tonk Bar and Grill in downtown Nashville on Lower Broadway. Morgan was arrested on May 24th, 2020 outside of Kid Rock's Honky Tonk Bar and Grill for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. At the time, according to an arrest affidavit, officers observed security guards for the establishment remove Wallen around 11 p.m. due to him being disorderly by what they described as kicking glass items inside. Officers said they gave Wallen several opportunities to walk away with his friends, but he refused. Police claim Wallen had a strong odor of alcohol and appeared to be a danger to himself and others. Officers also alleged that he got into multiple verbal altercations with people passing by and was arrested due to being intoxicated in public, unable to take care of himself, and the reasonable likelihood the offense would continue. Now, according to USA Today, a search into Davidson County court records do not show any charges filed in that case, which could possibly mean that the charges against Morgan Wallen from this incident have been expunged from Wallen's record. The controversy, however, continued in that same year for Morgan. Unfortunately, into the latter part of 2019, in the month of December, the world was stricken with COVID, causing a shutdown along with many regulations and protocols set in place in an attempt to cure the pandemic. This ultimately played a part in this being another hardship in Morgan Wallen's career not too long after his initial arrest. because just a few days before Morgan Wallen was set to take the SNL stage in October of 2020, which is considered an honor in the music and entertainment industry, Wallen's appearance was nixed as he was uninvited by the show after violating its COVID protocols following several TikTok videos that surfaced just prior to his scheduled appearance. The videos seemingly showed Morgan socializing at what appeared to be at a bar and at a house party while in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, without social distancing throughout that evening following a football game that had occurred earlier that day. Morgan, however, owned up to his actions and sent out his first apology video of his career. Here is his apology.
It's a tough video for me to make, but a necessary one. And I just wanted to let you know ahead of time that I actually did write some stuff down because I got a lot to say. And this is something that I take serious. And I don't want to miss anything that's in my heart. So if you see me looking away from the video for a second, that's why. I'm in New York City in a hotel room. I was getting ready for SNL this Saturday. And I got a call from the show letting me know that I will no longer be able to play. And that's because of COVID protocols, which I understand. I'm not positive for COVID, but my actions this past weekend were pretty short-sighted, and they have obviously affected my long-term goals and my dreams. I respect that show's decision because I know that I put them in jeopardy, and I take ownership for this. I'd like to apologize to SNL, to my fans, to my team for bringing me these opportunities, and I let them down. And on a more personal note, I think I have some growing up to do. I think I've lost myself a little bit. I've tried to find joy in the wrong places, and I don't know, it's left me with less joy. So I'm gonna go try to work on that. I'm gonna take a step back from the spotlight for a little while and go work on myself. I wish I could have made country music and my fans proud this Saturday, but I respect the decision once again, and Lauren Michaels actually gave me a lot of encouragement by letting me know that we'll find another time to make this up. So that means a lot to me. Thank you for that. And lastly, I know that I'm taking some heat, a lot of heat, but I just wanted to let you guys know that your messages of encouragement haven't gone unnoticed either. It may be a second before you hear from me for a while, but I'm gonna go work on me, and I appreciate y'all respecting that, and I'll talk to you soon. I love you.
Now, following Morgan Wallen's apology, only 2 months later, in December of 2020, he ended up being invited back to SNL as a musical guest, where he performed and was a part of a skit alongside Jason Bateman, even poking some fun at his decisions that he made 2 months prior, which played a role in getting him uninvited to SNL originally, so much so that he damn near wore the same outfit that he had wore during the night in Alabama. But fast forwarding into January of 2021, fans were stoked to receive Morgan Wallen's sophomore album Dangerous, the double album, as it had been a long time since there was any new music from Morgan, and he had stepped away from the spotlight for some time following the SNL debacle. Again, things were looking extremely well for Morgan, and without question, he did not fall into what is known as the sophomore slump. However, just a little under 1 month since his second album dropped, Morgan Wallen made headlines once again. On February 2nd, TMZ published a video of Morgan Wallen using a racial slur outside of his Tennessee home, which was sent to the publication from what is believed to be Morgan's neighbor. Morgan faced much backlash from listeners and from the industry. Wallen was suspended by his record label. His music was pulled from multiple radio stations and streaming services. In addition to the punishment just mentioned, Wallen was also banned from attending and having any eligibility for several award shows within country music and the award shows that took place outside of the genre as well. Initially, according to TMZ, Morgan Wallen released a statement apologizing for his actions, where he said, "I used an unacceptable and inappropriate racial slur that I wish I could take back. There are no excuses to this type of language, ever. I want to sincerely apologize for using the word. I promise to do better. And sometime later, Morgan Wallen turned back to social media, where he sent out another sincere and genuine apology video to his fans. Here it is.
Hey y'all, it's Morgan. I'm long overdue to make a statement regarding my last incident. I wanted to collect my thoughts, seek some real guidance, and come to you with a complete thought before I did. I was made aware of the video being posted to TMZ with hardly any time to think before it was released to the public. I was asked if I wanted to apologize, and of course I did. I wrote many detailed thoughts, and only a portion of those got used, which painted me in an even more careless light. I'm here to hopefully show you that that's not the truth. The video you saw was me on hour 72 of 72 of a bender, and that's not something I'm proud of either. Obviously, the natural thing to do is to apologize further and just continue to apologize, but because you got caught, and that's not what I wanted to do. I let so many people down, and who mean a lot to me and who have given so much to me, and it's just not fair. I let my parents down, and they're the furthest thing from the person in that video. I let my son down, and I'm not okay with that. So this week I've been waiting to say anything further until I got the chance to apologize to those closest to me that I knew I personally hurt. I also accepted some invitations from some amazing Black organizations, some executives and leaders to engage in some very real and honest conversations. I'll admit to you, I was pretty nervous to accept those invitations. The very people I hurt, and they had every right to step on my neck while I was down, to not show me any grace, but they did the exact opposite. They offered me grace, and they also paired that with an offer to learn and to grow. And I'll be honest, that kindness really inspired me to dig deeper on how to do something about this. And one thing I've learned already is I'm specifically sorry for is that it matters. My words matter. A word can truly hurt a person, and at my core, that's not what I'm okay with. This week I heard firsthand some personal stories from Black people that honestly shook me. And I know what I'm going through this week doesn't even compare to some of the trials I heard about from them. I came away from those discussions with a deep appreciation for them and a clearer understanding of the weight of my words. I wish the circumstances were different for me to learn these things, but I'm also glad it started the process for me to do so. I've got many more things to learn, but I already know that I don't want to add to any division. This week was a big lesson that sometimes we can do just that without even knowing it. Our actions matter, our words matter, and I just want to encourage anyone watching to please learn from my mistake. There's no reason to downplay what I did. It matters, and please know I'm carefully choosing my next steps in repair. I want to end this update hopefully on a more positive note. Since that video was taken, I've been sober for 9 days. It's not all that long of a time, but it's enough to know the man in that video is not the man that I'm trying to be. I've had this week to think about times when I'm sober, and I'm really proud of who I am and my actions for the most part in those moments. When I look on the times that I'm not, it seems to be where the majority of my mistakes are made. So I decided to go off the grid for a little while and get used to making good decisions. I want my team, my family, my friends, and even strangers to trust me. Hell, I want to trust me. Who knows if I'll be able to live down all the mistakes I've made, but I'm certainly going to try. I'm going to spend some time taking back controls of my habit, living healthy, and being proud of my actions. And lastly, I have one favor to ask. I appreciate those who still see something in me and have defended me, but for today, please don't. I was wrong. It's on me. Take ownership for this, and I fully accept any penalties I'm facing. The timing of my return is solely upon me and the work I put in. I still had a lot of really good people in my corner trying to help me, and I appreciate them more than you know. I appreciate you more than you know. This entire situation is ugly right now, but I'll keep searching for ways to become the example instead of being made one. In closing, I'm not trying to be a holy roller or anything, but this week I remembered a passage from Paul that always stood out to me. And I'm thinking maybe a moment like this is why. In 1 Corinthians 13:11, it says, "When I was a child, I spoke like a child, thought like a child, reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways." That's what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit. God bless.
Several months later, Morgan Wallen also appeared on Good Morning America, where he admitted in the interview that his actions were ignorant and that he went to rehab following the incident. He said, "For 30 days, I spent some time out in San Diego, California, just trying to figure it out. Why am I acting this way? Do I have an alcohol problem? Do I have a deeper issue?" But on top of the sincere apology, Morgan also shared that nearly $500,000 of the profits earned from his second album, Dangerous, went to several black organizations, including the BMAC, the Black Music Action Coalition, and it was he and his team's first donation. Morgan took much time away from the spotlight as he really took that time to reflect and prepare to make his return, including making several wonderful personal relationships that bettered himself for making his long-awaited return. And on March 3rd, 2023, Morgan Wallen did it again and released his third studio album, One Thing at a Time, which blew through past records held in country music for singles and albums. And his tours were doing astronomical numbers and still are, breaking stadium attendance records and just doing 2 shows in each city to accommodate the extreme demand. Wallen, of course, was riding that wave of success once again, all while keeping somewhat of a low profile online, as you don't really see much of Morgan Wallen on social media, as maybe one would believe you would with an artist to his caliber, to his level. However, on April 7th, 2024 of this year, as most of you know, Morgan Wallen was arrested again in downtown Nashville on Lower Broadway. This time at Eric Church's brand new bar Chiefs for allegedly throwing a chair from the rooftop balcony area of the bar 6 stories high. Videos quickly surfaced online, and we learned from MNPD that he had been arrested and charged for 1 count of disorderly conduct and for 3 felony counts of reckless endangerment. Here is that tweet from Metro Nashville PD. They wrote, "Country artist Morgan Wallen, 30 years of age, was booked early today on 3 counts of felony reckless endangerment and 1 count of misdemeanor disorderly conduct for throwing a chair from the rooftop of Chiefs Bar Sunday night. The chair landed on Broadway close to 2 MNPD officers. His bond was set at $15,250. And shortly following Morgan's arrest, he sent out a public apology, not by video message this time, but he sent out a tweet on his X account where he wrote, "I didn't feel right publicly checking in until I made amends with some folks. I've touched base with Nashville law enforcement, my family, and the good people at Chiefs. I'm not proud of my behavior, and I accept responsibility. I have the utmost respect for the officers working every day to keep us all safe. Regarding my tour, there will be no change." Now, throughout this time, we have heard from Morgan Wallen's attorney as well, who initially stated that Morgan was cooperating fully with authorities. Morgan Wallen's current One Night at a Time tour is still in full swing, as he said it would be. His trial date is now set for August 15th at 9 a.m., which he will be in attendance for. We know he was not in attendance for the preliminary hearing, essentially, as he waived his right to do so. Wallen's attorney has also shared publicly that this is obviously a very complicated case, and it's not going to resolve itself without subpoenas and witnesses. Sometimes you have to go through things for your own to learn lessons in life, and I think that's applicable to Morgan Wallen, my son, and everybody else's kids. I think everybody generally wins if you can resolve it in a manner that everybody can live with. Morgan Wallen's attorney, Warwick Robinson, has also expressed that Morgan Wallen has went above and beyond with his apologies and what we can ask someone to do, who has went through an incident such as this. So now that we have touched on the public controversies in which Morgan Wallen has found himself in throughout his career, this is one that I talked about earlier in the video, and it has to do with the standalone EP that Morgan Wallen released very early on in his career. This is a bit different in nature, as it's not necessarily a public controversy. controversy, but more of an internal one and a hardship that Morgan Wallen had to face in his career, as he learned just this year that his old management and team in which he recorded this standalone EP with would be releasing a 10th anniversary edition of Standalone. Morgan Wallen attempted for some time to not have this released and to essentially have folks making money off of him. He's very protective of his catalog of music that people can find and stream. And this is one that he attempted to stop, but unfortunately it ended up being released, and Morgan Wallen had a lot to say about this. He even pulled a Taylor Swift really and recorded his own new version of Spin You Around. Here's what Morgan Wallen had to say about this, I guess you could call disagreement from his old team. He writes, "I'm writing y'all from a duck hunting trip because I want to fill you in on something happening tonight. Back in 2014, I went to Florida to try my hand at making original music and songwriting for the first time. This led to a record deal with a local investor and an artist management deal that I deeply regret. Unfortunately, I signed both deals without any legal representation. We made 13 songs. Some were okay, most were terrible, as I was just learning how to write in general and figuring it all out. I was not the only collaborator, so many of these songs were not my idea, nor to my standards. We deemed 5 worthy enough to make the standalone EP, which includes a fan favorite, Spin You Around. Tonight, those colleagues I parted ways with almost 10 years ago plan to release a 10th anniversary edition of Standalone against my wishes and include 8 unreleased songs, distributing it with the assistance of my former managers. For months, I've been exploring every avenue possible to acquire the rights to this old music and keep the quality of my catalog consistent with songs I choose to release and believe in. It's gross, greedy, and an example of how the dark side of the music business can suck the soul out of artists. I want you to know this is not my new music, and I don't want to see this happen to anyone else. I cringe when I listen to these songs, and I'm concerned my fans may mistakenly believe this is a new release by me. I begin recording my next project at the end of February. I'm feeling inspired creatively and super excited to make more music that I'm proud of. In response, I re-recorded Spin You Around this week in Nashville, and it comes out tonight. Thank you, Joey Moy and Brian Sutton. I did the artwork myself while in the woods duck hunting. Hope you like it. LOL. Number 2, I am donating $100K from the Morgan Wallen Foundation to the Volunteer Lawyers and Professionals for the Arts program. I hope young aspiring musicians read the story and know they should never have to give up their creative freedoms for an opportunity in this business. And last but not least, number 3, trust me, when my new music is ready, you'll hear it directly from me. And before we move on, I want to talk about the Morgan Wallen Foundation. He mentions it in that statement that I just read to you guys there. The Morgan Wallen Foundation has played such a significant role in giving back to the community and those who are also just big fans of Morgan Wallen. He takes time to meet with these fans and to give back. He's given money to baseball and sport programs in school. He's partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He even partnered with folks over in London to secure musical instruments, part of an art program that goes on over there. There's so much that's being done by his foundation. He's giving back so much. And, you know, even with all of these hardships, controversies, arrests, however you want to look at this, Morgan Wallen is doing a lot of good out there with his platform as well. There have been many of some of the brightest and most talented stars in the music business who have dealt with hardships and roadblocks throughout the years of this business, and navigating the waters of the music business, fame, and one's personal life. It can really take its toll and be difficult at times to maintain at such a high level without hard times. As we mentioned earlier, Morgan Wallen struck fame fairly quickly and continues to strike gold with his music and talents. It appears that his latest arrest will be put behind him, and Morgan will continue to aim to be the best that he can be on the stage and off the stage. Right now, records are just still being smashed by Wallen, but with the help of now Post Malone, because their new song, I Had Some Help, just broke Spotify's one-day streaming record for a country song with nearly 14 million streams upon its release. The timetable is, still unknown on when we will get new Morgan Wallen music, his own music, his newest record, but it is evident that fans are still making it a point to stand behind him and root for him to be the biggest country star we have maybe ever seen, or at least since Garth Brooks. Even with all of the twists and turns, fans are still getting a chance to look at one of the greatest to do it in this era, a story that will potentially continue to live and breathe for many years to come. Thank you guys for tuning in here at CountryCast today. We, of course, would love to know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. This has been, a conversation for some time amongst fans with Morgan Wallen, his career and his trajectory, of course, with his past and how he got to the level in which he is at now. So let us know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comments. As always, thank y'all for tuning in here. Be sure to subscribe as well down below so you never miss out on any breaking news and updates.